Hi everyone, I was planning on making a very different kind of book video today, but I'm not going to because I'm sick. I've come down with a cold and my head is throbbing and my throat is sore and my body is achy. So I can't focus on that, but I always have this frustration because since I'm staying home from work today, I have the whole day in front of me, and usually if I have spare time, I like to read as much as possible. And so the idea of having a whole day free to just be able to read is bliss. But I always find when I'm sick, I can't read because I just can't concentrate on what I'm reading. I've just been trying now. I've read a page and I have to read it like 5 times before it sinks in because my head is just muddled and I find it so frustrating. So I was wondering if any of you feel the same way. What do you do? How do you cope when you're ill and you can't focus on reading? So I was just going to talk about some of my strategies to get through the day. I do get so frustrated looking at this big stack of books that I have to read and that I've been really wanting to read. Like I just started this novel called Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeleine Thien, a new book from Granta Books, and it's great. It starts so strongly and powerfully, but I just can't focus on it at the moment. There are other books in the stack that I've been really wanting to get to for ages. There's Paul Lisicky's memoir called The Narrow Door. There's Sarah Taylor's new novel. She wrote this great novel called The Shore, and this is her new novel. And there's a book by Barbara Pym, which is a Virago's classic book. I've never read Barbara Pym before, and I've always wanted to read her. There's this novel called Martin John by Anna Conna Schofield that I've been wanting to read all year. It's an Anna and Other Stories novel. It's Emma McBride's new novel. There's this book called Hystopia, which has been really well reviewed, that I've been wanting to get to. There's this novel called The Words in My Hand, which is a novel partly about the philosopher Descartes, which sounds really interesting. There's this book called The North Water, which looks like a great seafaring adventure, and it's been so well reviewed that I've been really interested in. And there's Nicola Barker's new novel called The Cauliflower, which I've been meaning to read for months. So I have all these books, been wanting to get to, and now I'm just staring at them really forlornly because I can't concentrate and read them. So instead, what I'm doing to cope with the day, I'm not watching daytime TV because I find daytime TV really depressing. Not so much the shows, which are just sort of mindless and silly, but especially the commercials that play during the day. A lot of them are geared towards unemployed people, and they're asking if you want a loan. Other commercials targeted towards older people who are looking for life assurance or medical care, and I just find it all quite depressing to watch the actual television. So instead, what I do is watch a lot of movies, or I watch documentaries, especially David Attenborough documentaries, which there are a lot on Netflix. So I find it really comforting, and it just sort of helps me doze off to sleep, even though sometimes there can be really harrowing things that happen of animals fighting each other and stuff. But I just find that sort of immersion into nature really comforting. But while I'm watching all these, I get myself a big cup of tea, and also I always get myself a chocolate chip muffin, because when I was young and I was sick, my father would always bring me chocolate chip muffins, and I know it's not the healthiest thing. It's a very American thing to do, isn't it? Give them a muffin filled with chocolate, but I find it really comforting, and it makes me nostalgic. And then movie-wise, what I like to watch, one of my absolute all-time favorites is The Women, which is the funniest film ever made, I think. It has Norma Shearer. She's sort of this sweet, innocent wife, and her husband is having an affair with Joan Crawford, who works at a perfume counter. And Rosalind Russell is her gossipy friend, and it's just so funny. You can see this subtitle of the film, The Woman, is "It's all about men," and it is, but it's all about these funny and bitchy women's lives. So it's just great to watch. Another great classic film is called Babyface, which stars Barbara Stanwyck. She plays this sort of down and out woman who comes from nothing, and she goes to this city and she literally sleeps her way to the top of this company. You can see they show the exterior of the building as she's working her way up the ladder of management, that it actually goes up stories as she's sleeping with all these various men. It's a really funny movie and clever movie because it shows her cunning and her intelligence and this great friendship she has with her black friend. And it's a really great movie. It's in this box set called Forbidden Hollywood, because these are pre-code era films when before these sort of morality rules were put in place about what you could show on the screen, which limited the amount of how you could talk about drugs or sex. And these were films made before that time, so they talk about drugs and sex in a much more explicit way than afterwards. Another go-to movie is Mean Girls, which is just, we all know Mean Girls, don't we? It's just great, fun, classic. Or a great John Waters movie, Polyester, is so funny, just really outrageous and ridiculous and silly and just so good. Another great 80s movie I go to is Made to Order. This is a movie starring Ali Sheedy, who is like famous for being in movies like The Breakfast Club and Short Circuit. But this is reverse Cinderella story, where she's this spoiled rich girl and her fairy godmother comes along and turns her into a maid. It's a ridiculous story, but I find it really fun, and it's something that I've watched my whole life, like countless times. I don't know why, I just love it. Then there's this new movie called Zootropolis, which is a Disney movie, animated film, and I was really skeptical about going to see this movie because I thought it just looked like a ridiculous film about animals, but actually it's really clever, really heartwarming, and really has like a good message to say about diversity and acceptance, and it's hilarious. It is so funny. So it's a great new film that I'd recommend alongside these older films. So that is how I cope. That's how I get through the day. What do you do to when you're feeling ill and you just need some comfort? So let me know. Also let me know what you've been reading. Hopefully I'll make another video soon, which is a bit more upbeat and positive, and I can actually talk about the books that I'm reading once I'm able to read again. Sorry, I'm obviously feeling very self-pitying. So I'm just going to curl up in my duvet now and watch a film, and I hope you're all well. Bye.